Welcome to Life Skills with Louie. Today we are talking about imagination in somatic restructuring. This is all within the mini section on what I call somatic restructuring, working with the body and shifting it with your conscious attention and awareness. If you haven't watched the introduction to the somatic restructuring section, I encourage you to do that to orient yourself. This falls within the larger section of Getting to Great. If you haven't watched the introduction to Getting to Great, there are two of them, one about mapping your experience, and the second one about responding to your experience, which is the essence of this whole section, awareness of your experience and then response, which is the beginning of self-love in my mind. And finally, if you haven't watched the introduction to the entire video series, please do so. It gives you an orientation to all 5 sections and when and how to use them. So, to talk about imagination and how it connects with the body. This is an interesting section and one to explore. I personally know from my own experience that this is a thing, but people may have different levels of awareness or belief or suspicion about what you can and can't do with this practice. And really the encouragement here is simply to explore. Imagination can have an effect on your somatic body experience. How much so is a question. People have different thoughts about this. However, I encourage practice and exploration of using your imagination in 2 ways in connection with your body. So the first way is directive imagination, which is if you've watched cognitive restructuring, we've talked about this. And then the second way is dialogue with your body. And I'll briefly bring up accuracy as well, because I think these 3 areas work similar to how they work with cognitive restructuring of your thoughts. You can do some work with the body. So to talk briefly about accuracy and then go into the other 2. Accuracy is important with the connection with the body. And so if you have certain sensations you're attempting to tune into, very important with pain as well, to simply let yourself notice what's really there, trying to let go of fear or an overlay of thoughts and worries, and simply notice the sensations you're experiencing. It has a generally positive effect. Of course, if ever you're honing in on something and it makes you feel worse, get more guidance. Don't do that. Listen to your intuition above all else. But more accuracy can provide interesting facts, like that what you thought was a sensation of something then changes into something else and then shifts to another part of the body. So accurately observing is a really powerful practice. Now to step into more of how to use the imagination as a tool. So we'll start with dialogue, that you can actually dialogue with the sensations of the body using your imagination. Many times I will be aware of a sensation and I'll tune into it in the body, and I will see if my imagination comes up with an image that connects with this sensation. It might be an image that includes, the body structures, or it might be something totally different, like a young child in a field, or anything that can be imagined. And you can actually dialogue or interact with the sensation, the somatic experience through your imagination. If you try this and find it interesting, many therapists, especially those that practice somatic therapy, will use these types of practices, and you can explore this more. And I encourage you to do so. I just wanted to bring into awareness this reality that you can interact with your body, with imagination as kind of a mediator, and sometimes actually have literal conversations with an area, especially if a pain seems to come and go, or a sensation seems to come and go. Like the question of why does it come and why does it go? I mean, it could be simply a physical, that you move this way, you move that way, but sometimes there's a emotional or thought connection with it. And so you can learn about it using the imagination and having these imaginative dialogues. The second thing you can practice is more of a directive with your sensations. So if you are doing a dialogue and you find that when you tune into a certain sensation, you get this experience like it's you in a cold winter, sometimes you can offer a direction that goes someplace different. You can't force this, but sometimes the body will allow it. So you warm up the area and you warm up that imagined scene and you change it into a beach and you go into the water and you notice that actually your body's sensations are changing. This is a wild, interesting practice and something that I encourage people to explore. So if you want a little more guidance on imagination, there's a section on imagery. There's a basic imagery practice within the Being Beyond, an effectiveness practice. That's one that's tried and true that I've used for a long time that has an imagery practice that can affect your somatic experience, your body's experience. And also I encourage to look into working with a somatic therapist that can help you to explore this a whole bunch more. Thank you.